meet the Mets. Head for the park and greet the Mets. Hot dogs, green grass, all out of shade. Guaranteed to have a heck of a day because those Mets are really rocking and ball, hitting those home runs over the wall. Go Riders, New Jersey, Brooklyn, Queens, and tell me let's go. Let's go Mets. That's the cheer all over New York town. Beat the Mets. Let's go Mets.
Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, a great one, a people's champion, your host, the Hut, and we are back live, back live here in New York City, talking about the New York Mets. I dribbled some more water on my chin, like I did last night. And hold on, I need a drink. Oop. And we're going to try to do our best to, I'm going to try to do my best to update you on Carlos Correa. It's been very quiet. It's very quiet. Let me get to the chat. Hello, Swaggin Burger. How you doing? Let me see if I can get this name right. I don't think I said it right last night. Abdiraham. All right, let's try this again. Abdirahman Barry. Hello, Jersey Grit. Easy name. Hi, Stony 814. And Leon in the Bronx. You're on the air. Me here, you there. So let's sort of give you an update. It's awfully quiet today. I thought that we would have something by now. It's now almost, it's 2:30 now. 2:33, be precise. I thought we would have some kind of news on the Mets and Carlos Correa, but they're still working through this, and there are teams popping up now that are interested. That's probably a Boris ploy to get other teams to make the Mets jump. And so I wonder how close it is, or how it's not close. But that seems to be a ploy of his. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. I am not sold on Correa here, right off the bat. I'm going to read you a story from the Post that came out today about this injury and really what's the problem here. Hello, Carlos Guerrero. How you doing? Yeah, look at that tree. I got, see my tree? An actual tree up. Super Baby. Mr. Hunter, respectfully submit that you look nothing like your voice. Well, I don't know if that's that's good or bad. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm going to read you. Hello, Mothman Evolved. Mothman, been here a long time. Let me read you this article that came out just a little while ago, a few hours ago, about Correa. This is from the New York Post. Okay, here's the headline. Kind of felt numb. The Carlos Correa warning sign no one noticed. The Mets' massive 12-year, $310 million deal with Correa is on hold. This is written by Eric Richter. We do give credit where credit is due. Very important that you do that. You're going to do stuff on this platform, and any platform, you better make damn sure you give credit. And while both parties are currently mum on the status of the deal, there is still optimism that the two teams, or the two sides, it's not well written, will come to an agreement, according to the Post Mike Puma. While Correa hasn't missed any time due to his right leg, there was at least some cause for concern during a game this year. On September 20th against the Royals, Correa came up hobbling after a slide into second base. He attempted to steal, but as a tag was applied, He appeared to be in agonizing pain immediately upon contact with Royal second baseman Michael Mazzei's shin. Quote, this is from Correa. He just hit my plate, Correa said after the game, per The Athletic. Quote, I had surgery and he hit it. Just kind of felt numb, vibrating. So I was just waiting for it to calm down. It was a little scary, but when I moved, I knew it was good. All I know is if you get a plate in your leg or on your body and it starts vibrating, if it starts vibrating, that is not good. And it's in his leg. The surgery he is referring to occurred back in 2014 when he was with the Astros High A affiliate Lancaster Jethawks. He was injured on a slide into third base. He would go on to miss the remainder of that season in 2014, but he wore an ankle guard for a while after as the Astros shortstop. Up until now, that ankle has not been an issue. But that Tuesday night game in September was a sign of the injury drama he can't escape this offseason. It initially scuttled a 13-year, $350 million deal Correa had with the Giants before the latest chapter with the Mets. Now there might be a problem with this plate. Now, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I wouldn't be doing this if I was a doctor. But the fact that there's all kinds of red flags going up and he's failed two, that means two physicals. Two physicals. He's failed two physicals. And the Mets are trying to work this out. They're crazy. Let me get to the chat. Hello, Ray Rods. Hello, Saint Vintage. You're new. Saint Vintage says, I have a similar injury. Anytime you get hit right on the spot, it's going to kill you for a minute. Oh, that's not good. But did you get like surgery done on that? I guess, obviously. But he's 28 years old. Let's be honest here. He's 28 years old and he can't like pass a physical. I mean, that is very troubling. That's extremely troubling to me. And I've talked about this guy's penchant to be injured. He has missed a lot of time in the majors. And that is not, I'm not exaggerating that at all. Let's see. In 2015, he played 99 games, but he came in the middle of the season. 2017, he missed 53 games. 2018, he missed 52 games. 2019, he missed 87 games. In 21, he missed 14 games. Last year, he missed 26 games. This guy has missed a lot of time. He's missed a lot of time. And he is not, I think he's very overrated, to be honest with you, because I think Lindor is a better player than him. I don't know how he is defensively, but if you look at his numbers, he's never hit more than 26 homers. He's never driven in 100 runs. He doesn't have the speed. And this thing about his leg means that he doesn't have any speed. He's not going to be stealing bases. And let me look at how many double plays he's grounded. He's grounded out to a lot of double plays. 18 last year, and he missed 26 games. That's a lot. 16 the year before. This guy's hitting to a lot of double plays. So do you want to bring in a guy that's 28 years old and he's had all these kinds of injuries and he's failed two physicals? How many 28-year-olds fail physicals? Not many. And this injury is not going to get better as he gets older. Gets in his middle to late 30s. He's going to be hobbling around here. Hopefully the Mets will get some kind of liability if they sign him. Now, last night they said it was 55% chance that he was going to be with the Mets. I would think that's probably dropped since last night. The longer this goes on, the chances of them signing him drops. Even if it's quiet, Paul Abu Hanik asks, you think the Mets will work it out? Who knows? I mean, they're talking. They haven't said that they're calling it off. It's in a situation where they're saying, that's it. He's not really talking to other teams right now. I mean, teams are calling. The Yankees are calling. They said the Braves are possibly calling. I don't believe that for a second. That I don't believe because it doesn't make any sense if they're going to do that. Why don't they just resign Dansby Swanson? Um, that's silly. Swaggenberger, off topic, but do you think it'd be possible for Escobar and Carrasco to be involved in the same trade? So how much would we get for it? I don't know. Let's do one thing at a time here. I mean, maybe Carrasco. Maybe Correa doesn't sign. Won't be involved in the short term. He's going to be really good. My fear is he goes to a rival team and makes us pay. I don't worry about him. The guy's always hurt. He's not going to the Braves, and the Yankees would look like complete total hypocrites signing him for one basic reason. Uh, First of all, every time any Astro goes into Yankee Stadium, they get booed. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, you've had the general manager up there in the Bronx has done nothing but complain about the Astros for the last 5 years. He complained this last spring that the Yankees got robbed out of a World Series in 2017. I don't see the Yankees signing him either. And if they were to sign him and he doesn't play well, he gets injured, they will destroy Brian Cashman. That'll get him fired. You know, I mean, it's very strange. That these two particular teams. I mean, teams are gonna. I mean, I think the Twins would be back in it because I know the Twins are very interested in bringing it back. And the Giants said that they were willing to talk, but they didn't move fast enough. You know, so. But again, how many 28-year-olds fail physicals? I mean, he's 28 years old and he failed two physicals. They don't think that he can hold up to the length of these contracts. So why is everybody clamoring for him? Can somebody explain that to me? Um, what is this sort of rush to want to get him? Stony 814. What's his career average? Let's take a look. He's a 279 hitter. It's okay. 357 on base percentage, 479 slugging percentage. Nothing. I mean, it's okay. His OPS plus is 129. That's okay. It seemed to be much better prior to 2017, prior to 2018. 2018, his OPS plus was under 100, was 99. And 2020, his OPS plus as an offensive player was 93. So 2 of the last 5 years, he's below average as an offensive player. So this is a guy that his production is, I think, is being hurt by these injuries. Exactly, Swaggenberger. For a burger, you're very sharp. He has the same numbers as Escobar, you know. So that's why I'm very surprised that they're so in on this. I would not do this. Be honest with you. Yeah, I mean these are the same numbers. Except the OPS is a little bit lower with Escobar. I'm not fooled by players. I don't care what their resume says. I don't care. I always try to sort of let you know what I think about a player. And this guy has some big reputation, but the thing is that when I look at him, he doesn't impress me. Now he does hit big pitching. Um, he does hit big pitching. He's done well in postseason, but over the course of the season, it's not. You can't bat him fifth. He's not a number 5 hitter. He's not a number 5 hitter under any circumstances, and that's what the Mets needed here. Um, that's why I was very surprised that they jumped on this very quickly, the way they did. If he doesn't sign here, I'm not going to be crying about it. I think most YouTubers are going to be crying about it. I'm not, because I see what the player is. He's okay. He hits big pitching, but you got to get the postseason first. New Jersey Swamp Fox says the smart play is to pass and Correa and go for Devers this year or next. Exactly. Wolfman says Correa is a winner. He has platinum gloves and gold glove rookies of the year, gem awards, postseason awards, and worked. There's a lot of drama with him. You're already seeing it. This is a hassle starting this guy. Um, I mean, he's a hassle to me. I mean, he's drama personified to me. You know, and like I said, you want this guy. If he gets hurt now, everybody's gonna be pissed off. I'm gonna be pissed off because I didn't want him. Okay, this is a situation where he's missed, a year there, but he's missed a lot of time. Um, he's missed a lot of time. And this, I don't feel like this is like a last piece of the puzzle. To be honest with you, I was surprised. Like I said, I was very surprised they jumped on him very quickly. Hold on, I need to drink. Gluk, gluk, gluk. Ralph Quarto. Hey, baseball hut. Merry Christmas. And I don't think the Mets need Correa. These contracts, 12 years, the years are just ridiculous. But this all started with Tatis, Tatis got that big contract, and all these other shortstops that had a resume, Lindor, Swansby, Swanson, Swansby, Baez, Correa, Trey Turner. It's all because of Tatis, and all these teams have doubled down. They've all doubled down on the years for the shortstops. You know, I don't understand it. Like everybody knew that the Padres made a mistake with that, and then it got all screwed up. He screwed things up even worse by his behavior and his attitude. First with his recklessness in the offseason, breaking his leg, and then with the PED use. You know, everybody's gonna fell in line with that guy. Oh, he's so great. Oh, he's a generational player. The guy hasn't proven much. Tatis didn't prove much. And now the guy he's on suspension. Uh, Ralph Quadro. I think they should go after Adam Duvall. Duvall. The Mets need a lefty bat in that outfield. They have no bounce now in the outfield now. Um, you know, he doesn't. I never liked him. He strikes out too much. I know he's got power, but he just strikes out way too much for my taste. He just does. And like I said, Correa is not a middle of the order guy. He's a top of the order guy. He's a number two hitter. You know, and and another thing about him, his numbers don't play good at third. Okay, they're okay at third, but like one of the guys said earlier, his numbers are the same as Escobar's. So why are you giving him all that money and you gave Escobar less? It's silly. And there's no drama with Escobar. Escobar is not going to give you know what you're getting out of him. You're getting a professional player. The professionalism of this particular player is a little shaky at times. How many players the night of his team wins a World Series, minutes after they win a World Series, he makes a spectacle of himself in front of national television and asks his girlfriend to marry him. Now he can do whatever he wants when it comes to his personal life, but that's a moment for his team. That's a moment for Houston, never having won before. So why are you doing this in front of the national audience? Do it the next day. Don't do right after you win the World Series. You get on your knee, you ask him to marry. It told me a lot about him as a person. And it was 5 years ago. Maybe he's mature, but it's a very bizarre behavior for me. Richard says this. I say, here's the thing. If you've read the articles online, he's not budging on the money and he's not budging on the years. Okay. He's just not. His numbers aren't like that. Well, his Des New Jersey. I hate to have to do this, but his numbers last year were very similar to Escobar's last year. Now that I've looked at it, Escobar had 20. He 26. Escobar had 69 RBIs. Correa had 64. The reason his wins above replacement is so high is because he's a strong defensive player. Okay. I'm sorry, but for last year they were the same player. They just were pretty much the same. Mothman Evolved says, "Hut, whatever happened to that to that baseball YouTuber Mets fans only? Remember that guy that used to say that the latest and I know, well, he's just copying me. You know, let me tell you, he does wrestling now. You know, everybody's talking about AEW. You know, you know, I mean, he was so like into the Mets fans, YouTubers community, and all this, and he's lecturing me behind the scenes. And when I told him I couldn't go on a show all the time, he got all twisted. Said, "Are you committed to this community? Are you committed to this community?" And I said, "Look, I don't need your passive aggressive nonsense." And he didn't really like that. And he basically, uh, bad mouth. He told the not YouTubers, by the way. Um, and interestingly enough, he doesn't do anything with the Mets now. He's just all about Chris Jericho and, the real sport. You know, um, so he's not really about community. He's about being YouTube famous. I know he did a video last year on his channel, and basically turned his nose up at me and that kid Wardy in the beginning of it. He's like, "Oh, it's good to see those guys are still at it," and turn his nose up at us. I don't really give shit on that. Frank Frank Matos, Hut sent him to the Phantom Zone. I sent that Mets fan. He wrote to me a couple months ago. I didn't realize it was him. Got something on the channel. I didn't realize it was him at first. Um, but I sent him I sent him packing pretty quick. You know, he sent himself away. He could have kept doing the videos. It's your boy. Hey there, new to the channel. Happy to find a place to talk baseball. Hope you had a good holiday and Christmas. I did. You see my Christmas tree? Get my Christmas tree up. It's not gonna be up too much longer. Richard. All right, let's see. I heard on another podcast that Mike Trout asked the Angels to trade him to the East Coast. The Phillies, Yankees, and the Mets, I guess, talked about. He's not getting moved. What the hell's going to pick him up? He got like all these years on him. How old is Mike Trout now? He's 30. His best days are behind him. His best days are behind him. Sorry. No, where these guys they get this stuff from? All these rumors. Mike Trout is 31 years old. He's going to be 32 next year. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. His best years are behind him. He can't stay on the field. This guy is like a modern day Mickey Mouse. He can't stay healthy. He just can't stay healthy. I don't know what podcast was this. I would, if any team would be interested in him, probably be the Phillies. Okay. And he's got so much money coming to him. He's got so much money coming to him. It's crazy. And he can't stay healthy. From 2023 to 2030, he's making each year $37 million. That's 9 years. So you're talking about $330 million over the next 9 years. I wouldn't do that. You couldn't pay me to do that. The Mets would be, any team would be crazy. But if he were to go anywhere, it'd be the Phillies. But where's he going to play in the Phillies? Like he wants to win. Why did he sign this massive contract? You know, the guy is a great player, but he's past the point of no return with the injuries. He's been injured a lot, but in the ages in his 20s, he's hurt a lot. Starting at age 25, he was hurt a lot. 2017, he missed 48 games. 2018, he missed 22 games. 2 years ago, this is 2030, 20, I'm getting screwed up. 2021, he played only 36 games. And last year, he missed 43 games. This guy has missed a lot of time over the last 6 years. I wouldn't touch him. And he's a great player. I mean, he's a great player, but he's just hurt all the time. You know, he's just hurt all the time. Like I said, he's past his prime, and that team's going to get sold. They're going to kill the value of their of their franchise. They would kill the value of their franchise by trading him at this point. Crazy. You don't do that. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. It's not silly to compare Correa to Escobar. I'm doing it based off of last year, and I'm not doing over their career. I'm talking about last year. We're only talking about 6 more home runs and fewer RBIs. And Escobar did not have a good year until September. You know, Worship OG. I'm really hoping they can negotiate a better contract for Correa. I'm hoping that he doesn't sign. I'm hoping he doesn't sign. Okay. And I take the hits here. I mean, I'll tell you what I think. I've been wrong about anything so far. You know, again, instead of the be revisionist history, I said 2 years ago the Mets shouldn't sign Trevor Bauer because he was effing weird. You know, and I got crushed by a lot of people. Last year and a half, 2 years, I said that Jacob DeGrom wasn't going to come back here. I understand that people were goofing on me in other live streams, but I turned out to be right, 100% right about everything. Um, and I'm telling you now, got to be very careful with Correa. I'm telling you, between the injuries and the drama, I mean, he's not even here, and he's causing a headache. It's like, the hell? The guy's not even on the team yet. They haven't announced anything, and he's causing drama already. Why do you want this on your team? You don't. You know, let me tell you something. Bauer did more than just hit a woman. It's worse than that. Worse than that. I don't like having to sort of go against the crowd, but I want to see the Mets win, and I'm telling you, the Mets will win with him on the field. This team's gonna win with him or without him. Okay, but you gotta understand, he's not the final piece of this puzzle. It seems to be a little bit of um, a vanity play on Correa wanting to play with Lindor. Um, you know, so that's how I look at it. It doesn't seem like for Correa it's a business decision, but now that he's got this offer, he doesn't want to back down because you lost money off the last deal. He doesn't want to lose more money. He's trying to save face. It's a boy. You down for Cohen to go after? It's a boy. Are you down with Cohen to go after Ohtani? He's made known he's going after him and willing to sign a. Where did you get that other part from? All right, you know he hasn't said anything about Ohtani, but the Mets are going to get him. And here's the thing about Ohtani: even if his pitching takes a step back and he's not in the rotation, he could play every day. So you'll get something out of him, either as an offensive player or as a pitcher. So, so to me, I'd rather just wait a year to get Ohtani and you could bat him fifth. You could bat him fifth, or bat him cleanup, but bat him third. Um, he's a different kind of animal. You know, He gives the team a lot of flexibility. But like I said last night, you're going to have a 6-man rotation. How is Verlander going to handle that? In particular, because he's trying to get 300 wins. Um, SO Raw cut. If Mets traded for Devers, do you think he takes a 10-year deal for 300, or he's looking for more? He's going to look for more because he's 26 years old. Okay, he's younger than Correa, and he's never been injured. And that guy's won a World Series. Yeah, he can rake. That guy can rake. There's a guy that could probably get 3,000 hits some point, or gonna get pretty close to 3,000. He's the guy. That's a guy that'll get 3,000 hits at some point. That guy can hit, and he's a different kind of player. And he's a third baseman. Correa's not a third baseman. Hold on, I need to drink glue glue glue. Mouth is very parched today. A swagging burger. I disagree. That's why I think next year will be the year when we really make a push. Yeah, I know. We're really not going to make that push this year. They won 101 games last year. Um, the hope is they win a World Series. That's why I hope they win a World Series this year, and then they bring Ohtani as extra. There's no pressure on him. All he has to do is just come here and play. Um, that's the thing about bringing in Devers is that or Devers, whatever the hell his name's called. Um, you bring that guy in here, you got to sign him right away. Um, and he, by the way, he's 3 years older than Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty's will be gone. If they bring in Correa, Brett Beatty's going to be gone out of here. I don't want to hear this stuff that he's going to be put in the outfield. I really don't believe that. You know, I see him getting moved somewhere. All of a sudden, S.O. Rourke is like Dr. Oz. He's trying to figure out the height and the size of 26 year olds at 240 and 6 foot tall. I don't know where you get your information there, S.O. Rourke. Hello, Scott A. Scott A might have the simplest comment here. Basically saying to wait for Devers and Ohtani. I mean, that's basically what you got to do. Now, I would mention, I didn't say this in the first half hour of the show. Please like this video. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. Smash the like button. I've read on different had 2 channels. They say you don't have to tell people to like everything, but please like it, and of course subscribe. Give you the honest stuff that goes on here. I'm not gonna manipulate the algorithm. I'll tell you what I think. Most of the time I'm right. So please subscribe. It's very important that you subscribe. Want to grow the channel. Want to do big things here, and I expect to be on other platforms in the future. So this is not. I'm not going anywhere. You think that Devers is going to be like Prince Fielder? Prince Fielder was big when he was like 2. I mean, you're comparing. Let me get this straight. You're comparing him to Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder was like the size of a major leaguer when he was 13 years old. He was 200 pounds when he was 13 years old. How could you say that about that guy up there? That's crazy. And if he gets slow, you DH him. You know. Prince Fielder had injuries at the end because of his size. He was like 5'2", 400 pounds, and his body broke down. CAA Mafia. The only thing Devers beats in Correa at is his age. The guy's hit 300 a few times. I mean, he's a good player. He's a better hitter than Correa is, and he hits good pitching too. He hits great pitching. We've seen that. This guy can hit when he was hitting Aroldis Chapman when Chapman was still good. Let's take a look. I've been worried about that. Was that he was a weight? I didn't know that was such an issue here. I mean, the guy can hit any part he's pitching, and this guy's not really. He had some injuries in 2018, or maybe he was in the minors. Who knows? But he hasn't missed any time over the last few years. He's hit 30 home runs twice. He's driven 100 runs twice. He led the league in doubles in 2019 with 54. This guy can hit. Let's see, when he's hit 300, hit 295 last year. Led the league in total bases in 2019. He's had MVP votes, 3 of the last 4 years. It's nothing not to like about him, you know. And he can hit. That guy can rake. I don't feel that way with Correa. I just don't. Nobody says the same things about him. Again, the guy failed two. So he's getting 2 physicals. Do you want a guy that's failed 2 physicals? Yeah. No, I don't. I know, I certainly don't. Southern Cal Mets fan says, screw Correa, get Manny in here next year. Well, that's another thing. He's 32 years old. Manny Machado I like him a lot. You know. Let's take a look at him. On the side here. Machado is 30 years old. So he's just a couple years older than Correa. And he's played a long time. He's got almost 1,600 hits. You talk about a controversial player. But he knows how to play, though. He's really good. He's hit 30 homers a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times hit 30 home runs. And he's a better player than Correa. Not even close. 1, 2, 3. 3 times 100 RBIs. Second in the MVP voting last year. Right, and Buck does know him because he played for Buck. Yeah, I like Machado a lot, but I don't see that happening because they're gonna make some kind of movie or third. So New Jersey Swamp Fox says Baez had an edge, but there's a difference between Baez and Machado. Machado's first of all, Baez. Uh, I don't know what the hell happened. He came here and this team did not play well. You know, he came here and he dragged the whole team down. I thought, and like we've seen is that Buck has managed this guy. He's managed Machado. Sky says 44. I would ask you not to curse in the live streams in the chat. I don't care what you say in the chat. I'll put you in a timeout. I don't really like that stuff, and I don't want to see that in my live stream. There's no rush to sign Pete and McNeil, right? From Eric Breen, he got another pass out of the nervous hospital. Machado grew up. Baez hasn't. He has grown up. So I think that I mean, I agree. He's grown up. He's not the player in terms of off the field like he was. He sort of has become a bit of a leader out there in San Diego. CA Mafia. You don't need to sign Correa. The Mets have a third baseman. Let's have a third baseman. Signing him keeps the kids that can help you bring another piece later on. I'm not giving up any prospects or a player that hasn't proven anything in the playoffs. Well, then that's going to eliminate a lot of players because not everybody plays one postseason. With that kind of logic, you would not want to trade for Ted Williams. You would not want to trade for Willie Mays. That's stupid. Because if you're looking for a player that does well in the playoffs, you bring in a guy, say, yeah, Um, who's a guy I can bring up? I'll give you an old school guy, Brian Doyle. Just trade for Brian Doyle. you know, and that's not sensible. You know, that means you don't want to trade for Ted Williams. What do you got against Ted Williams? CA Mafia. CA Mafia says he's one of the best playoff performers in this era. Okay, but you still have to get there, and he has to be on the field. He's got to stay on the field. That's no guarantee. You want winners here. Well, it seems like the Mets are doing a good job of bringing a lot of winners in here. But obviously, you don't like Ted Williams because you want a winner here, and you're going to blame. It's silly. It's silly. You want anybody. Postseason is a weird thing. Some players don't do well in postseason, and some players do great in postseason. That is not really. You want a guy that's clutch, and a lot of players don't get the postseason. Now, Ernie Banks did not get into postseason, so you wouldn't want Ernie Banks either. With that rationale, you could say, with this rationale, you're basically saying that you don't want Buck Showalter here because of his history as a manager in the postseason. You know. And so, Rourke, get Teddy out of the ice. He can exactly. This guy can hit 275. But because he doesn't hit well in postseason, C8 Mafia doesn't want him. All right. Ray Rides doesn't show up until, and then he starts complaining. I don't care what a player looks like. Okay. I don't care what a player looks like. Okay. This guy is still complaining about 2 years ago. My biggest issue with Lindor was whether he could stay healthy. And the first year was a disaster here. Okay. The biggest reason his career turned around, that the second year was so great, was because Buck was here. But if you're going to continue on with this, because you're going to repeat yourself, how many more years from this? I'll send you off. Not a problem. Bye bye, Ray Rods. You stick that rod somewhere. uh, yeah, Ray Rods doesn't come around. He comes around in the offseason. He never writes to me during the season. And I don't like that kind of talk because I don't think like that. Um, you know, I have nothing to prove to anybody when it comes to anything. So you could you can suck it there, Ray. You could say suck that rod. Okay. CAA says this: Who in this team stood up for us when we were the most hit team in the MLB? Give me the edge. I know. You got to have more than that. A guy that's going to fight. I thought that Bucks should have hit somebody early in the season. That's on the manager. That's on the manager. Um, and the thing about Lindor is you don't give these players big contracts. You just don't. You don't give these guys 10-year contracts. I don't. I mean, we've seen the sort of history of it. I mean, they gave Pujols that 10-year contract in Anaheim, and he wasn't the player that he was. And isn't it weird? Then the last 2 months, he worked really hard. I wonder why that was. Interesting. I have my suspicions. I'm not going to get into it, but that is very suspicious about Pujols in the last month and a half. How he was hitting home runs like that, and it didn't seem like he was doing that for the 10 years that he was with the Angels. Interesting. Um, yeah, I don't care what a player looks like. I really don't. Hello, Kevin. You know, and I would point out, aren't Puerto Ricans Americans? Yes, they are. So yeah, why would I hate another American? You know, Puerto Rico's not its own country, and certainly I don't care what a person looks like. Hello, Lendog 73, Dookie Howser. Yeah, I mean, these contracts are ridiculous. I mean, see, what are CAA Mafia says, what are Devers' playoff numbers? Well, it's interesting you should say. He's a 300 hitter in the postseason. Okay, because I looked it up. And he's played in the World Series. He's okay in the World Series, but he's got very good numbers in postseason. Just go on Baseball Reference if you're so worried about the clutch. You know, based on your rationale, you'd rather have Ray Knight than Howard Johnson during the season, based off of one season and one postseason with Ray Knight. I was not a fan of Ray Knight, by the way. I was not a fan of Ray Knight. You wouldn't believe it. Everybody just loves Ray Knight. Oh, Ray Knight is best. Oh. Guy almost got cut in spring training. But since you're asking me about his numbers in postseason, Devers is a 303 hitter in postseason, 382 on base, 573 slugging. It's higher than in the regular season. They said he hits high end pitching like Correa does. 27 for 89. First of all, he had game 6 and game 6 he almost lost the World Series. Ray Knight. Okay, and if anybody had a consistent World Series in '86 was Gary Carter. Okay, Gary had 2 home runs in a World Series game, and he had the biggest hit of that series in Game 6 because he could have just packed his bags and left in Game 6. CA Mafia, maybe you didn't pay it. CA Mafia, very lousy, very slow takes. I don't think you noticed what happened last offseason. Last offseason, we had a thing called the lockout, and the teams did lock the players out. That's what the problem was. You know. Ralph says this: Ray Knight made that '86 team gritty only when he was productive. Because in '85, he was one of the worst players in baseball. I mean, if anything, if there was a player that was important to that team, more important than him was Kevin Mitchell. I think he was a better player over his career than Ray Knight was. If you look at Ray Knight's overall numbers, his WAR is not very good. It's actually very low for a player that was an all-star with Astros and the Reds. He just wasn't that great. I'm not a fan of his, by the way. He gets a little too much credit, in my view. Too much credit. Because that team won 98 games the year before. Nobody talked about Ray Knight's grittiness. Nobody. Yeah. From Ralph. Mookie Wilson was my favorite player on the team. He was pretty good, too. Rich Boy. This is weird. Well, I don't know where you are, Rich Boy, but if you're not into sports and you find this weird, this may not be the channel for you. Now, I get a sense. Let's see. It's your boy. You're gonna watch the WBC. That's a good amount of teams this year that will make it interesting. USA, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico look very good. I don't know. We'll see. S.O. Rourke. Carter was the missing piece. 85. They won 98 games that year, and if that were today, they would have made postseason. What they did in that offseason was 2 things. Because they didn't have a lefty in the rotation other than Sid Fernandez. They brought in Bobby Ojeda. And Tim Tuffle was another guy that was a key guy. Okay. And people forget that. Bobby Ojeda had a career year that year. That's a big reason why they won another 10 games. Very key guy. People sort of forget about him. Oh. Rich Boy says, no, I'm talking about the Mets Correa situation. Well, you have to sort of, clarify, Rich Boy. Rich Boy, but not all wealthy like you. CA Mafia. Okay, so what would a Devers trade package look like? Well, let's start with Beatty. They probably want Vientos. They'll probably ask for one of the catchers. I wouldn't do that. Not on a 1 year deal. Uh, I wouldn't have a problem giving them Mauricio. Mauricio can play shortstop for them right now. Um, or at least a year from now. Um, that's kind of what you're looking at. Some kind of package like that, and maybe one of the pitchers that they have, maybe a Calvin Ziegler. But you got to be a little careful because he is coming. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Then he's a free agent. So, do you want to do this now or do this a year from now? That's the question. You know, you know. That's really the question here. Is um, CA Mafia. So give up kids for something that might be a rental or pay Correa and keep the kids. I don't want Correa. Okay, I'd wait. The team won 101 games with Escobar playing third. So so this is not a situation where you're looking at a team that's an 82 win team. The Mets are a team that won 101 games. They don't have to sign him. Okay, they're at where they were last year in terms of them as a team. The only unknown here is Senga. You don't have to sign Correa. You don't have to. I don't know if he puts you over the top, to be honest with you. The Mets can still win 100 games. This is what we're talking about. And the problem wasn't, and the problem they didn't get the postseason is because their four best players did not play well in September and against the Braves and the Padres. Lindor, um, Alonso, and of course DeGrom and Scherzer. Scherzer didn't pitch well in those games, and Bassett didn't show up. Um, so so that's what we're looking at. So if they can keep these guys, especially Verlander, keep him like rested to where he could pitch the way he's supposed to pitch in September, they're going to win the division. But there's no reason to make this. There's no reason to sign Correa. You don't have to. The owner wants him because he's friends with Lindor, and Lindor wants him. That's really the question. Do you want this guy? Does he put you over the top? Is he going to win a World Series? No. I don't know. But if you're there with 101 wins, and you got to remember something a lot about some of the guys the Mets have on this team, they never went to postseason. They never played in pressure games. Pete never did. Nimmo didn't. And McNeil didn't. So now they have some experience under their belt now. Sand and Stone. A deal can always be made mid-season if something needs to be added. Don't have to commit to Devers now, and you hold on to the prospect capital. Well, that's the thing about Devers. You don't have to make that deal. You don't have to either. Okay, you don't have to do any of this stuff. Why kill yourself and sign this guy Correa when you don't need him? What do you need him for? You know, they won 101 games. Um, they're a good team. How much better does this make you? It makes you better in September and October, but you look at the numbers from last year; it's the same numbers that Escobar had. So I don't know why you'd kill yourself spending all this money, but you can use the money, save the money. You could sign Ohtani next year. Um, I'll tell you, I used to do this thing on the comic side where I would make YouTubers jump and I would make creators jump. It seems that Talking Mets with Rob has gotten the message about giving credit to these different people online. Good to see. Better start giving me credit on the videos he steals, the video ideas he steals from me. Um, he just posted something from Andy Martini. He's so behind on this thing, this guy. This is from Andy Martino. I've heard talk they're working on it today, but it's radio silence from people directly involved. This is what this thing about Correa is about. It's very quiet today. Uh, Dookie says, "I'm okay with losing Correa if he doesn't stay in. He's not going to be. He's not going to be with the Braves. I mean, he's not signing with the Braves." Dookie. That's a Boris ploy. The same thing with the Yankees. Yankees would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous if they signed him, because then Brian Cashman looked like a fool and a hypocrite. Especially since he's been complaining about the Astros for the last 5 years. So see, one of my competitors will jump. I'll make my other one jump too, if I have to. Um, well, the money isn't like the issue, Ralph. The issue is the years for me. I wouldn't have a problem giving 5 years. He's not taking it. He's not. They said he's not giving in on this contract. If he's going to be this kind of like stubborn, bye-bye. Goodbye. I don't want him. I don't want him anyway. So let me just say a couple more things. Doesn't seem like anything's going on. I might come back on later. We'll see. Maybe after my dinner. Maybe around 6:30. But this is sort of a short little live stream I did right now. YT Scully says, I understand waiting next year and getting Devers, but what about Machado? He can opt out. Exactly. He's going to opt out. He's a Boras guy. Uh, I think Machado's better than those guys, and he's right-handed. Right-handed bat. He's a big-time third baseman defensively. Mario says, would you prefer Machado instead? You know what? I would. I would actually. You wouldn't think that. So I think he's grown up. I think he's learned a lot. Yeah, I mean, Correa's not lowering the money. He's just not doing that because he's not going to lose. Because he's going to lose more money. He's already lost money because he failed the first physical. But just think about that. The guys that want him here, he has failed 2 physicals. 2. I hate to repeat myself. He has failed 2 physicals. And when you fail 2 physicals and he's 28 years old, that's a problem. And the guy, somebody runs into his leg and it vibrates and it makes all kinds of noises like a bell. It's like the Liberty Bell. Except it's his leg. I've never heard of a leg vibrating. But so I thank you all for coming by. This is a rather short stream for me, I guess. And I'll be back a little bit later. Hopefully we'll have some news later. I have a video on Correa that I posted. If you haven't watched it, please watch it when this live stream is over. It's a very short 4-minute video. Just sort of updates, and it's doing really well, to be honest with you. I mean, it says 2.6 on here on the view, but for me, it's up to 5,100 views, so it's doing really well. And again, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. I will be back in later talking about this crazy situation with Correa. If he walks and goes for another team, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. CA Mafia. So do you see anyone giving him 10 years if he re-enters free agency? If he opts for a short-term deal? I don't see Cohen gets out, but who's this person that you're mentioning? Is that Correa? Correa is not going to take. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen with Correa. If the Mets walk away from this, I won't blame them. And that's Correa's problem, because then he'll be like a 2-time, and he's going to fail a third physical. He's going to fail again. You're going to have to get a physical before anything else with him. Hello, Ramon. Hello and goodbye. So I'll see you later. I got to get out of here. No, I'm not getting out of here, but got other things to do, and I'll be back later. A lot of stuff that's just not going on. But I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. I'll be back later in another live stream. probably 6:30 ish, and we'll talk more about this and see where the hell is going. So I'll see you later. And again, please subscribe if you're watching on replay. Please, of course, subscribe and leave comments. I read the comments, and thank you for having giving me the time today. And I'll see you later.